Damba Jomden Dejen Java Jomba Yandaba Zove Zanje Riba Dan Shabsu Demba Devara Sheba Jiden Jemba Jebo Deve Galo Jurwa Lana Meva Lada Menam Je Damba Zanje Jomden De Bejava Shaja Tuba La Chaze Lo Chodo Javso Je ho damba jomden de shin shewa ta jomba yanda ban zobe sanje riba da shabso demba dewara shewa Jigden Jemba Jebun Dube Galo Jorba Lana Meba Lada Menam Je Tumba Sanje Chumden Pejawa Jaja Duba La Jaze Lo Chedo Jazo Che Ho Dumba Chumden De Dishin Sheba Tajumba Yandaba Zobe Sanje Riva da Shabsu Demba Devara Java Jigden Chemba Jevon Deve Kalo Yoruba Lana Meba Lada Menam Je Tumba Sanje Jumden De Pejawa Shaja Tuba La Chaze Chudo Jaso Je Ho Sanje Chudan Soji Chonama La Chanshu Padu Tani Jaso Je Tagi Chushi Jebe Sonama Je Dola Penji Sa Chobara Sho Sanje Chudan Soji Chonama La Chanshu Padu Tani Jaso Je Tagi Chushi Jebe Sonamanje Dola Penji Sanje Dobara Shoy Sanje Chudan Soji Chonamala Chanshu Padu Tani Jaso Che Tagi Chushi Jebe Sonamanje Dola Penji Sanje Dobara Shoy. Good morning to everybody. I see all the diehards here still continuing. Okay, I wanted to begin today's session by quoting two stanzas by the fifth Dalai Lama. It says, Tsedi nang tashik seba la rang kochu paworo lomche na tu dengi tawo nyomondi ta duwe tula nyebar babs. So if I try to translate, what it means is that in this life, conventionally, if somebody is able to kill or destroy or terminate one's own enemy, that person is perceived or considered as a hero. And here, Fifth Dalai Lama is saying that "Tütenge tawo nyomonde taduwe tula nyabar babs." It is time for us to terminate or to kill or destroy the enemy, Tütengi Tao, the enemy, the real enemy, which has been our enemy all the time. Like the enemy in this lifetime is only for this lifetime. When we die, that person no longer be our enemy. And if that person dies, then no longer that person would remain as our enemy. Whereas our afflictions within us is there all the time, causing all the harms continuously. Remember, Shantideva says that Shantideva made comparison between this life's enemy with the afflictive emotions. And he says that whereas our ordinary enemy, he does not have 24 hours to think, to come up with ideas to harm us, or even to engage in actions to cause harm to us because he has other things to do. Whereas this enemy which is within us has all the time, is committed 24 hours to destroying us. So it is the most dangerous enemies of all enemies. So that's why Fifth Dalai said, it is time for us to really start doing something about this inner enemy. Ten dejor melu lek tobjing lam labsum nenga shinduitir kongkunjung pungzo majomna larkeji tangla oge dogs. So at the moment, at this time, we have achieved this precious rebirth, which has all the favorable conditions to enable us to engage in Dharma practices. And not only have we had this precious human rebirth, we also have little understanding of the three trainings: the training of morality, the training of concentration, the training of wisdom. Lam labsum nenga shinduiter. We understand a little bit about it. So at this time, when we have this human rebirth, plus we have some understanding of Dharma knowledge. It said, Kongkunjung pungzo majumna. If we are unable to defeat the causes of all the sufferings, then larkiji tangla wojedong, then it would be very difficult on the battlefield of what you call the battleground of birth and death. That means it will churn out more suffering. We will continue to suffer. So here, interesting point is Kongkunjung Pungzo, the army of the causes of our sufferings. Fifth Dalai said we have to destroy. So there are countless causes of our sufferings. So all these are categorized as in the Four Noble Truths. The Noble Truth of causes, Noble Truth of origin of suffering. Of course, the fundamental or the primary cause is the ignorance. With the ignorance gives rise to attachment and hatred or anger or animosity. And because of these three, we end up committing all kinds of negative actions. Because of all these three, we are prevented from doing virtuous activities. So it is utmost important to try to at least reduce these three poisons, if not completely, if not unable to eradicate completely. As we have discussed before, the danger of attachment. Like anger, it is very obvious. We can recognize. It is easy to recognize. We can also understand the danger and the risk and the negative consequences of anger. Whereas when it comes to attachment, that grasping, that clinging attitude, it is very difficult, firstly, to identify and then to really realize its destructive effect or power. Many times we mistake attachment or clinging as our love and care. It kind of seeps in, so that's why attachment is what is the word now? Is attachment. Attachment is seditious, tricky. But what I was trying to say is that it's likened to oil sipping onto a piece of cloth or paper. It gradually seeps in. It's like the water current underneath the surface of water. There is water current below the surface. There is water running, but we cannot see it. So attachment is like that. It's very hard to identify. So we have attachment to so many things. We have attachment to this worldly life. We have attachment to our material gains. We have attachment to status, fame, name. We have attachment to loved ones. And what else? Especially when we are born as human in desire realms, we are overwhelmed by that. Whatever our sensory perceives, there is a danger of attachment arising accordingly. So Shantideva goes through the list of all this, because having this clinging attitude or this attachment to things is the worst obstacle to practicing Dharma in general, and especially, particularly, when one is trying to achieve this state of mental calmness, the mental stability, or the shamatha, calm abiding. So for that purpose, Shantideva goes through the list of the objects that we get attached to, and then he refutes that it is not right, it is not appropriate to be attached to this. He shows us how meaningless it is to be attached to these things. So in the last class, Shantideva was going through our kind of refuting the pointlessness of our attachment to loved ones, especially our sensual desire, our attachment towards sensual pleasures. So this is what I think last week we finished this. If I'm frightened by the skeletons I see, even though they do not move, why am I not frightened by walking corpses which move around by few impulses? At least the Tibetan word. Rugung nidu tongne ni migu yang kyo tang rola shindu gai kyang kyo bar ju na chi min ji is. So earlier on the verse 46, Shantideva says that why do we, we discuss about, especially on Valentine's Day, how much people spend money on buying roses and gifting one's partners. And in ancient times, obviously, people buy flowers, people buy what do you call for as a perfume, they buy sandalwood paste and also all kinds of precious ornaments. So Shantideva is saying that why are we doing all this? After all, that body, that person whom we are attached to, will be eventually a food for vultures and animals. Seeing the mass of flesh being eaten by vultures and others, should you worship others' food with wreaths of flowers, sandalwood paste, and ornaments? So why do you run away when you see the dead body of your loved ones? Why do you have this fear seeing a dead body? And one may argue that it is natural, it is common for people to be fearful of corpses, of dead bodies. So then Shantideva says that if that is the case, if we are talking about the norms, the general practice, then Shantideva says that Kanla yo yang di chao 47 Rugunyi do tongne ni. Okay. Yeah. But let me just get this right. So then Shantideva says, if that is your reason, that is a norm, is a common practice, that everybody is fearful of dead bodies, and therefore it is a practice, common practice to kind of shun away, run away from dead bodies. So then Shantideva was saying that if that is your argument, that we base our argument on the common practice, then it says that Rugunyi do tongne ni migwe yang ni kyo tana rolan shin do gaye jang kyo bar juna chi min jigs. If I am frightened by the skeletons I see, even though they do not move, why am I not frightened by walking corpses, which moves around by a few impulses? This is to show that the general practice, general norm, is that the general practice is that it is to be more fearful of, I think it's a zombie. It is the general consensus, general habit is that people should be more fearful of walking zombies than a dead body. So basically, Shantideva was saying that zombie walks around because of some kind of something has triggered. There's only one thing that triggered. That's why it is walking, and we are so scared of zombie. But on the other hand, it's the human beings whom we are so attached to, they are erected or erected by not just one, so many afflictions. So if we say that we follow the norm, then we should be more scared of our object of attachment, the person, the walking person, than a zombie or a dead body. So now this is about something that is kānglā yōgyāng dī chākpa tēmā yō na chī mīndu tēlā kyōpa mēnā ni yōpa lā ni chī chiri kyūs. So this is to although I'm attached to it when it is covered with skin, why do I not desire it when it is uncovered? Since I have no need for them, why copulate with it when it is covered? So basically showing that both the corpse, the dead body, and a live person or the object of our attachment, both are impure. So our natural tendency is that when we see a dead body uncovered, there's no clothes, nothing. When you see the skeletons and all the organs exposed, we run away from them. We are afraid of it. We do not desire that. But the person who is nicely clothed is also, Sandideva is saying that it's same. It is also impure, filled with all filth. It is just a kind of a makeup. The skin, and then the clothes, the dress, they made it look pretty. But in reality, it is the same impure body. So why copulate with it? Why make a difference when it is clothed and unclothed? Why make a difference? Because in reality, both are impure. Both are filled with filth and dirt. So up to now, Shantideva is basically showing that how much we are obsessed with the person. Eventually, that person will end up dying, end up death, end up at a cemetery, end up at the crematorium. So there's no point to be so attached. One who is dead and one who is alive, in terms of as an object of attachment, there is no difference. One shouldn't kind of make a distinction. So from now onwards, it is a different subtopic. So basically, even when somebody is alive, it is still impure, trying to see the impurity so that it can kind of generate or engender some disgust. so that we will be able to reduce our attachment or obsession or this desire for sensual pleasure. So this is divided into kind of two main subtopics. So it's like, firstly, because it is directly perceived that the person is impure, it is not right, or we should not cling to it. The other subtopic is because it is certain through reason. This one, the first is that something that we can perceive. And then there are certain aspects that we cannot perceive directly. We need to rely on reasons to prove that the object of our attachment is impure, and therefore we should not cling to it. We should not be obsessed with it. Seni chibu nile nis shangdang kaju chungjur na tele shangla megashin kaju la ju chichir kaas. So this is really targeting our this desire for sensual pleasures. So basically saying that our object of this desire is really source of all filth and impurity. Since both excrement and saliva arise solely from food, why do I dislike excrement and find joy in saliva? So both excrement and saliva are produced by the food we eat. But when it comes to these two different things, we have two different attitudes. We have no problem when it comes to saliva. When you think of this, you can see the point that how attachment, how this obsession, this desire blinds us. If somebody whom you have no attachment, if somebody you see the person falling asleep, let's say if you are taking a public transport and then you are sitting across this person who was dozing off and then at the same time drooling, saliva's coming out of the mouth, you feel disgusted. But the person whom we have this strong obsession or attachment to, we have no problem. We engage in all kinds of things. We don't feel disgusted. So what made the difference? It is the attachment that blinded us. Thinking of the disadvantages or the faults of attachment, even right now, when you tune into these segments, many of you find that, oh, this is not so relevant to me, because what Chandida was saying is actually I'm already doing that, and there's no escape for me. There's nothing I can do right now. But what made that situation? What caused that? What created the situation you are in the first place? It is the attachment. It is the desire. It is the gross attachment. one's obsession for sensual pleasure, that ended up us in this situation where you feel that I'm stuck. I cannot do all this, what Shantideva is saying. So imagine that. If one is kind of have a kind of aversion towards that, like great lamas, when you read their life story, from young, they have these qualities. They have no interest in these things, the attachment things, these desire things. It kind of naturally they get disgusted by all this, and they have this natural aspirations to live what is that called, monastic life. So these has to come through practice. So it is important, I am reiterating this, I'm reminding you all that even though at the moment you may feel that there's nothing I can do much given the situation, but it is very important to make prayers that one will be able to do better in the next life. In the commentary, our obsession when it comes to saliva, it says that it is like sipping or drinking honey when it comes to saliva. Since both excrements and saliva arise solely from food, from the same food, why do I dislike excrement and find joy in saliva? So this is to kind of reduce our essential desire. Shingbe regna jambayi nge la kawar michebar chengan zawa ma yinshe döden mizangwa la bongs. So then one may argue that, oh, I'm not interested. I don't like these saliva and all that filth or that impure things. Then Shantideva says, if that is the case, then cotton too. When you say that I'm not into these dirty things, I'm not into saliva and all that impure things. I am for the what you call the touch, the soft touch of the other person. So then Shantideva says that cotton too is soft to the touch. Did I read the Tibetan one? Cotton too is soft to the touch, but while I find no sexual delight in the pillow, I think that a woman's body or man's body does not emit a putrid odor. Lustful one, you are confused as to what is unclean. So basically, Shantideva was saying that we are confused. We are ignorant of the fact that our partner's body emit odors and all kinds of impure, unclean stuff. So if you say that you are really for the touch and not for all the other things, the unclean things, then you say you should really have a soft pillow. So instead of having a soft pillow, being attached to a soft pillow, and if you still go for after the person, then you say that you are very confused, you are ignorant, you are foolish, that you don't realize that on the other hand, you have something soft that does not emit all these unclean things, odors. From the Buddhist point of view, it says the human body has 9 holes that emits all kinds of odors and unclean stuff. So even though on the one hand you have this soft pillow that does not emit all this unclean stuff, but you are so attached to the other one which emits all this unclean stuff. So therefore is that one should not be obsessed with a body that is by nature unclean, impure. Döden nyamba mongba nam shingbe regna jamba lang nyabu chawar menu she tela chowa thadu ches. Thinking that they cannot sleep with this cotton, even though cotton is soft and everything, fluffy, soft and everything, but thinking that they cannot sleep with this cotton, although it is soft to the touch, confused, negative, and lustful people becomes angry towards it. So the reason is that, yeah, it is cotton, cotton pillow is soft, fluffy, but I cannot sleep with it. So therefore, I must have my partner. So in that case, Shantideva was saying that this kind of shows that one is so attached to the impure things, not really the touch, soft touch. So in the picture here, when we go to a restaurant, and if you see flies buzzing around or hovering over the food, we may decide not to eat there. So that's why when I travel in India, one rule I adopt is to go to eat in a nicer restaurants that presents or serves the food in a kind of a clean dishes, clean plates. I know that kitchen, whether it's a nice looking hotel or restaurant, or some really questionable restaurants. I know the kitchen's condition may be same, but when you go to a nice restaurant, you don't see the restaurant, the kitchen, and also the way they serve, way they bring their food. It appears very clean. So one time there was this restaurant in India where monks love to go because it is cheap, and obviously food is quite tasty. But the way they bring the food, they will stack all the foods like this and then serve. And just that sight put me off, and I never went back to that restaurant. So here the point is that if we really realize, if we are so convinced that our object of this desire, obsession, is filled with filth and dirty and impure, that may help us to reduce our attachment, our obsession, particularly the obsession regarding the sensual pleasure. So that's what Shantideva was trying to make the point. Kede mizan cha me na rusib gyube dewa la shayin damgi she che shenju chi chi pangdu kyu kyunyi mizan mang yoba tenyi la kyu ten chu jing mizan keba shenda lang mizan kamben dobar ches. So now he said, oh, I'm not attached to, I'm not obsessed with unclean things. So when you kind of ask this question, am I attached to the impure or unclean things or not? You may say that I'm not attached to the impure things. But Shantideva is saying that it's same. If I'm not attached to what is unclean, then why do I copulate with the lower parts of others' bodies? So here the translation is a bit, I'm not sure whether it is correct or not. Of course, in terms of meaning, it conveys the point. But Tibetan, the word is pang. Pang is lap, one's lap. So here it was translated as lower part of others' bodies. But it is like, why do you embrace the person? Why do you hold that person, embrace that person on your lap or something like that? But it could mean something like this part. But it makes the point. Then why do I copulate with the lower parts of others' bodies, which are merely cages of bones tied together with muscles, plastered over with the mud of flesh? So that's why when we do meditation on what is called the Midupetingen, I don't know whether it can be translated as the meditation of ugliness. So we normally meditate on the skeleton. So when you try and imagine, if you have strong attachment to somebody, I mean that kind of desire. So when you think what is beneath that skin, then it really kind of give rise to that disgust that one may even want to throw up, because it is all nicely sealed by our skin. The moment you open up, then you will see all that ugliness. That's why it's which are merely cages of bones tied together with muscles, plastered over with the mud of flesh. I myself contain many unclean things which I constantly have to experience. Kyunyi mizang mang yoba, tinyi la ju ten ju jing, mizang keba shenda lang, mizang kambe do jiros. I myself contain many unclean things which I constantly have to experience. So why, because of the obsession for uncleanliness, do I desire other bags of filth? You know from your own experience that all these unclean stuffs oozes from all the various holes. You know that it's filled with filth, but still you are so obsessed with the other's body. Then if that doesn't suggest that one is obsessed or attached to the unclean things, then what is it? That's the point. So the other translation for that part, it says copulate with the lower part of other's body. It says, how can you cuddle on your lap? Lap, that's more, seems correct. I may be wrong. So the second part is that if you say that, remember the earlier, whether or not one is attached to the unclean things or not. So if you say, I'm not attached to unclean things, then he's saying that, why are you? Which are merely, if you're not attached to what is unclean, then why do I copulate with the lower parts of others' bodies, which are merely. But then if you say that, oh, maybe I am attached to the impure, then it says, I myself contain so many unclean things. Isn't that enough? You yourself is a bag filled with filth, and you experience that constantly. So why is the obsession? You already have enough. Isn't that enough? So there are two kind of refutations based on whether or not one is attached to the unclean or not. Tani shadi la ganshe rektan tawaran dona ko seme payi rangshingi shani choku chidar dos. So now here asking, we are kind of now separating, going into more kind of a detailed analysis. So when you are obsessed with another person, so what are you obsessed with? Is it the body itself, or is the mind, or the person's mental aspects, or is the matter or the body aspect? But it is the flesh that I enjoy. So you say that, okay, between the two, I am attached, or I enjoy the flesh, the body. If that is what I wish to touch and behold, I am attached to the body, I'm attached to the flesh, because that's what I wanted to touch and behold. Why do I not desire in its natural state? If that is the case, if there's nothing to do with the mental aspects, the mind aspects, then it's why do I not desire the natural state devoid of any mind? So when the person dies, the corpse, if you are attached solely to the flesh and nothing to do with the mental aspects, then why are you not attached to a dead body? Because the body is there. It is devoid of the mind. So why are you not attached? But nobody is attached to a dead body. Döbe simgang yimba te rekdang tawar minu las. Kanshi nu de sheba min döme kyu de chishik chas. So now you say, okay, if it is the mental aspect, it is the mind that one is attached to, it is not just the body, it is the mind. Then it says that so it's like, okay, it's not just the body, the mind has a role. Furthermore, any mind that I may desire is unable to be touched or behold. If it is the mind that you are attached to, then it says that mind is not a matter. Mind has no form. So your main goal is to touch and behold. But you cannot do with the mind because it has no form. Furthermore, any mind that I may desire is unable to be touched or behold, and whatever I'm able to touch will not be mental. So why indulge in this meaningless copulation? So basically saying that you are, it's like your magic, some magic is done on you and you are somehow confused. There's confusion there. There's like an illusion there. You see an illusion. So therefore the summary, the main point is that one should let go of our obsession either to body or mind. Mm-hmm. So now this is like reflecting on to oneself. Reflecting on how all these faults, all these, the flaws apply to oneself. And thereby one is kind of surprised for failing to realize the true nature of one's own body. Mizan rangshin shenji lu mido ngozar meche yang meche yis. Ranyi mizan nyi nyimbar tobar menju ngozar ches. It is not so strange, it is not so surprising that I do not understand the bodies of others to be unclean in nature or by nature. What is strange is that It is indeed strange and surprising that I do not understand my own body to be by nature unclean. So basically, this is to reduce our attachment to our own body. Our own body is also unclean, by nature impure. It is filled with filth and dirt. It says, Lu de mizang rodanda, Pugakune mizang za, Simbu mizang mewashin, Lumbu luse tedanda. He says that this body is like impure, like a dirty, pure, impure corpse. From the 9 openings, impure substances flow. Like worms that are attached to impurity, the foolish cling in the same way. So this is from Sutra, to show that how we are like worms who dwell in unclean or impurity, like the pigs. Pigs love to be in dirty places. So our body, from that point of view, is very impure. So there's no reason to be so attached to. But of course, it doesn't mean that we don't protect our body. We do, we need to. That also mainly to facilitate Dharma practice and spiritual progress, not for the worldly purposes. So the point is that by recognizing how impure one's own body is, one should abandon or reduce any attachment or desire for it, one's own body as well as bodies of others. Tinde nye se ki chewe pema shunu pangne ni mezan shembe semge ni mezan sevla chichir gas. But then one can argue that, oh yes, our body has many unclean parts, but the things that I am attached to, it is the shape, the aspect, that it is the one that I'm that appeal to me or that I'm attached to, are the body's shape, color, smell or fragrance and texture. So one may argue that to this response, Shantideva said that having forsaken the young lotus flower unfolded by the beams of sunlight, free from cloud, why with a mind craving for what is unclean do I revel in a cage of filth? So if you talk about one's obsession, the reason why one is obsessed is the shape, the color, the pretty, the whatever the appealing aspects, its beauty, its color, its shape. Then it says that why not you attach to a lotus flower which is in full bloom or blossom due to the rays of sun that come from the cloudless. There's this, I don't know whether it's same with Tibetan poetry, it is always like that. In order for the lotus to open, the sunlight must strike. When sunlight is strong, then it opens up. And there's another flower that opens up when the moonlight strikes. So lotus relies on sunlight. So that's why he said that free from cloud. So the sun that is free from cloud, which is not covered by cloud, will have a strong rays or strong light. And that will open up such a beautiful lotus flower. So if your reason for your obsession is because of its appearances, its prettiness, its shape, its smell, the fragrance, then he said, why are you not attached to a lotus flower and instead attached to a body that is filled with filth and dirt? Make sense? So now this is through reasoning. So until now what we have discussed is all something that we can perceive directly. But then some things we need to rely on reasoning. It's kind of a deduction. Sajo mezan ki goba kede regbar medu na kanle teni chungwa yi lula chedar kyo reg deus. So this is it's like the cause. So the first stanza 58 is that because it gives rise to impurity, or it is source of impurity, it is impure. So impurity is established. So one should not be attached to. Sajo mezan ki goba kede rebor menduna kanle tene chungwa lula chedar kyo regdo. Since I do not wish to touch a place that is smeared with excrements, then, I think it's then, why do I wish to touch the body from which that arose, that is excrement? So if you, as in the picture, if you see a loaf of bread lying in a dirty mess of a floor or a ground, would you pick up to eat? You would not. We would not. The main reason is that it is filled with, it is covered with dirt and unclean things. So if that is our logical reason, then why do we wish to touch a body from where all these unclean substances emits? So the first one is basically saying that the body is source of impurity, unclean substance. So one shouldn't be so attached to that. And this one is that it is the result of unclean substances. as a result of impure substances. Therefore, one should not be strongly attached to. Kedi mizan cha me na, mizan shing le chung jur shing, te sabyon te keba, shen ju chichir pang du chus. If I am not attached to what is unclean, why do I copulate with the lower parts of others' bodies which arise from the unclean field of a womb and are produced by the seeds within it? So this one, yeah, of course, in Lamrim also mentioned about when we meditate to reduce our attachment, that when we reflect on how we came to being, it is our main, what you call the cause or the seed is the what you call the mother's egg and father's sperm, isn't it? So that's our main cause, the substance cause. And then we were nurtured. Even after we were born, how mother feed us. I don't know whether it is practiced in the West, but in Tibetan community, Tibetan culture, how the mother feeds the young baby is that mother will chew first, and then she will feed the baby what has been chewed by the mother. So sometimes some people kind of perceive their parents, all parents, as dirty and all that. But they fail to realize that their mother fed them. If I'm not attached to what is unclean, why do I couple lower parts of those bodies, which arise from the unclean fields? So this is showing that we are the result. We are born out of impure. We are born out of filthy substances, unclean substances. So therefore, one should be so attached to one's body and are produced by the seeds within it. Oh, okay. So I think perfect. So let's stop here, and I have used all my slides today, so that's good. Let's say the dedication prayer. Tagi jinye zawe jawa de tendang jowa kunla kangbenda kebara chizun losan tawaye tenbe nyingbo ringdu seje sho jambe bayu jidara jemba da gundo zambo deyang dejendo deda kungi jesu talob je jawa deda tamje Rabdo ngo duzon jebe jawa damje je ngova kala chodo ngaba de tagi gebe sawan de gwenja zambo jeje rabdo ngova je. Okay, thank you.